Hey guys, welcome back to MLG Winter Championships. I am joined by none other than Kibbles. Of course, I'm Tumba. We've got an excellent matchup coming for you here. Why don't you tell the fans at home who we're going to be watching there, Kibbles?
Guys, Tumba, everyone, we've got DongRaeGu versus Demuslim, one of the most fantastic ZVTs I could ask for.
Absolutely.
Incredibly pumped for this series, guys. It's a best of three. We've got two of the more fantastic Zergs and Terrans here on the face of the earth.
Yeah, I mean,
put.
Demuslim actually beating Nest-T at the arena, so he's pumped up for that, I know.
Yeah.
And DRG, I mean, what else can we say about the guy? Absolutely amazing. Code S champion now. Just cannot wait to see this. And you can see, actually, the percentage are up. DongRaeGu versus Terran, 76%. Unbelievable. This guy, so very good.
It's going to be an incredible match. If we switch over to Demuslim and take a look, I mean, he's not as strong versus against the Zerg matchup, which is something that's going to be really, really interesting here. Demuslim, guys, has quite a number of accomplishments throughout. You take a look at IEM. He placed third in that tournament. That was a really big play for him. I remember watching those games. It was particularly gripping. My question is going to be, with DRG having such a name for himself, and honestly, he's one of these Zergs who is fantastic at keeping his opponent in their base.
Yeah.
Especially against Terran. I'm wondering. Demuslim's going to have his hands full, simply put here.
He will, but you know what? Demuslim, you can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. I mean, when we talk about improved players over the course of 2011, of course, Grubby comes to mind. Also, Demuslim. Demuslim has improved so much in this last year. No doubt the EG layer paying off for him, getting as much practice as he can, and just doing so very well last year. But I have to say, kicking off 2012, Kibbles, Demuslim's been the Terran to watch.
He's been incredible. I had the pleasure of casting him actually at Lone Star Clash, and it was a game versus Violet. I remember it was Core Hall Compound. Violet had the game in the palm of his hands, and all of a sudden you see, it was because a bunch of Broodlords hit the field, and we see Demuslim throw down 4 starports. The Broodlords take a couple minutes to cross the map, and by the time they get there, Demuslim has rallied an incredible defense, annihilates the army of Violet, and goes on to win that game. It was one of the most fantastic comebacks I've had the pleasure of witnessing in the last few months.
Absolutely. Another thing to add about Demuslim, such an emotional, exciting player.
Yeah.
It's just fun to watch his excitement because it's very, very contagious. DRG, though, as well, one of the greatest, if not the greatest Zerg currently in the world. I know Artosis absolutely loves Nest-T. There is no doubt about that. But DRG really making his mark in SE2.
Yeah, he's against Terran. Nobody can test with him. He is just the master of Zerg versus Terran. If you guys struggle with Terran, he is the player to study. His ability to control units across the map while maintaining his macro is simply put absolutely astounding. So I couldn't be more excited for this match, simply put, Tumba.
Yeah, no, me too. I can't wait to see this one. I mean, DRG has that kill switch, we like to call. And as soon as he flips the kill switch, it's go time.
Yeah.
However, you know what? Demuslim, not easily intimidated. It's going to be a tougher player to go ahead and go for the kill. Yeah, and even harder to hit the kill switch. So,
guys, we do see that this is pretty difficult pool. DongRaeGu, Naniwa, Demuslim, and HeyPro. We do have ourselves here within the B pool play. Tumba, I haven't had the opportunity to cast a match from this pool yet, and I gotta say, looking at the players in Pool B here, DongRaeGu versus Demuslim, ZBT is my favorite matchup. I really just enjoy it.
Yeah,
There's such a variety.
We're gonna have to see who comes out of the brackets here, but I had predicted that we could see DRG and Naniwa advance out of that pool. So, but we're going to have to see exactly how that shakes out. I know so many exciting games here at the Winter Championship. Of course, Columbus, just a great city to host one of these events. I don't know if I'm sure you guys have seen the crowd shots. The crowd so into it. I mean, it's really I get overexcited and I get nerd chills every time I walk out and see that wonderful crowd out there. If you haven't been to an MLG yet, make sure you get to one. Beg, borrow, steal, do whatever you have to do because it's certainly an experience I promise you will never forget. So right now, just getting the game invite currently, and as soon as we get into that, we're going to start to roll out DRG versus Demuslim.
I came to MLG Columbus last year as a spectator, and I need to say, walking out in that crowd right now, it is a Friday. and it is packed. It is absolutely packed, and there are twice as many seats as we've seen at any MLG prior to this. I can't wait to.
They keep adding seats, and people keep filling them. So go esports.
Yeah, really.
That's a beautiful sign.
All right, guys. We did priorly get the invite. We're getting this game lined up in just a second here. DongRaeGu versus Demuslim. Who would you say do you think is the favorite in this? You know, as I said, Demuslim has had some fantastic performance lately, but DongRaeGu is so good versus Karen.
That's a great question, Kibbles. In essence, a lot of people would say, well, of course DongRaeGu is favored. However, if you factor in the motivation right now of Demuslim, if you factor in how good he's been playing lately, how badly he wants it, it's not that easy to call. Can Demuslim take a game off him? Certainly. Can he take the series? Absolutely. But we're going to have to see, because DRG is one of those Zergs that can really get into your head mentally. If game one is just a crushing defeat for Demuslim, it's very, very hard to bounce back from that. We're only human, and you know, those negative thoughts start to creep in there. And you know, you go into game one, it is always good to go in as the dog and beat the favorite. We're going to have to see what happens, though.
You couldn't be more right, Tumba. About Demuslim's psyche, you know, DongRaeGu is relentless. He is an absolutely relentless Zerg, and honestly, if Demuslim finds himself even a substantial amount behind in a game, he's very, very adept at performing comebacks. But DongRaeGu is not a player that's going to allow that to happen. He's fantastic with his harass, and he'll make sure he stays all, simply put, keep you multitasking, keep you in every direction. He's not going to let anything slip by. Slip by his radar.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like also with Demuslim, it's one of those things where once he is in command of the situation and has the initiative in the game, it is so hard to recapture it. So as long as he doesn't allow DRG to set that tone, he'll be fine. I mean, we can remember back a couple MLGs ago where Liquid Tyler, again, Liquid Noni, made the statement, there's one player I don't want to see show up, and that was DRG. And he said that.
Fearsome.
Yeah, he said that for a reason. Fearsome is the best way to describe him. So we will be right back. We're going to bring up the player cards here, and we're going to see if we can't get our the invites sorted out. So just give us 1 second here, and we will be right back with DRG versus Demuslim.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Blue Stream. I'm Kibbles. Casting with me today is Tumba. Tumba,
Yes, sir.
I have honestly, it's been a while since you and I have cast together.
Yeah.
And
we did a lot of the dailies together. Had a lot of fun, absolutely,
Back
through
in the day.
2011, and you know, casting a lot of these great players that we're seeing today. So it's wonderful to see them go ahead and come from some of the dailies into a forum like this, into a tournament like this. And there's always typically a surprise that comes out of these MLGs. There's one player that starts to shine that a lot of players take notes of. Trimaster was one of those last year that comes to mind off the top of my head. But you know, we don't have to worry about that in this matchup, as both of these players are champion potential. Well, as we know, DRG already a reigning champion.
I mean, without a shadow of a doubt. We talked a lot about earlier, you know, the play styles that both of these guys do have, DongRaeGu and Demuslim. You look at it simply by percentage basis, DongRaeGu is the favored player here without a shadow of a doubt. But Demuslim is an unconventional Terran. One of the things that I really admire about his playstyle is his flexibility. Calling once again back to Lone Star Clashes, I love, you know, that I had the opportunity to cast him just a week ago. You know, I can't even believe it was just 7 days ago. And the fact is, we saw a lot of builds there from him that, frankly put, you know, I studied Terran a fair amount. They're builds I haven't seen. And I really love seeing things like that, especially with Terran players, because they have such versatility within their structures. We saw, honestly, he one game simply just went tanks with medevacs and went for a very unorthodox, powerful timing, and it was very threatening, I have to say.
Well, many players can imitate, but not many innovate. And I have to say that, you know, Demuslim, one of the players that can definitely innovate. So, as I said, putting in the time at the EG house has definitely paid off for him, I think. Just around with that crew. Definitely one of the most improved players that we've seen throughout last year. And I think he's moved beyond just the improvement phase of his game, and now he's into I want to win championships.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's a question of how bad does he want it.
Yeah, no, it really is. Yeah. It really is. It's that motivation that we keep referring to that's so very important, because it's a factor that's really hard to measure. You can put it on paper all you want, but you know what? That doesn't predict outcomes at all. Demuslim, of course, doing fairly well at Winter Arena as well, but wants to come out and definitely make his mark at an MLG for sure.
And there's no better way to do it than beating a player of DongRaeGu's caliber.
No, absolutely. Beating DongRaeGu is definitely a huge notch on the belt, and it's something you can draw on, and it's an experience you could draw on in the future. And talking a little bit about DongRaeGu, though, I feel like DongRaeGu is a player that, you know, isn't intimidated by anybody, but at the same time gives everybody enough respect to take them seriously.
Yeah, that's a great point to make, Tom. If we take a look, I love all these accomplishments. All right, we actually see more first places there than we do second or thirds. He is simply put a player who wins. And
yeah, he knows how to win. There is no doubt about that. Of course, I don't believe they had the Code S up there. I didn't see it on the card. They may have, but you know, recently, of course, defeating Genius. So, yeah, very good.
Yeah, and Genius has really been on the upswing as of late.
Oh, wow, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, definitely Korean Protoss to watch.
He really began experimenting with that double forge style back before it was popular. I remember a particular game that I witnessed. I believe it was the Zerg versus Protoss, back right when Belshevich Winter had actually come out. And it was really a discussion about whether you could get away with playstyles like that. But, I mean, DongRaeGu here, he has... You know how a lot of people say players reinvent the wheel, you know, ones that innovate? DongRaeGu simply takes the wheel and somehow reinvents such a simple concept as Mutila's Caress and makes it something that's entirely different from what anybody else out there is able to achieve.
Yeah, definitely. He's a smooth player, very solid, and you know what? He's comfortable, and this is very important, he's comfortable in a tournament setting. Some players get to tournaments and they just fall apart. Yeah. We've seen it classically. We see a lot of players that do well in a lot of the different dailies, a lot of the different cups. I mean, they're winning, and you're saying, oh, wow, look at this guy. You know, he's really starting to make his mark. He's got to win this next tournament. And he comes out and doesn't do very well. So it's one of those things where DRG, completely comfortable. And I don't think things like jet lag really affect the man. He just knows how to win.
You know, if anything, maybe it helps him having traveled through some phases of time to manipulate that time a little better. Because I'll tell you, DongRaeGu with his the other thing to point out that we actually haven't mentioned about DongRaeGu is simply put his multitasking. Yeah, it's not, you know, Zerg is one of the races that really benefits off of that. Terran as well, certainly. I don't think we've seen Terran evolve to that point yet. A lot of Terrans are still you know, experimenting with different ways in which you can open up in series. But Zerg is this race that really just simply benefits off the ability to multitask. And
That's right,
DongRaeGu.
No doubt, yeah. And DongRaeGu, one of the best at it, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's always a question of drones to units. How many drones can I get away making before I have to make units? And he has that down as good as any other Zerg.
Yeah.
And then to compile that with the fact that his timings are so well, and once he flips that kill switch, it's poured aggression. I mean, it just does not stop.
Things get killed.
Things get killed. He kills things dead. Lots of them.
Oh man, I am extremely pumped for this match. We are simply waiting to get the game established, guys. Apparently there have been a couple of difficulties, but we thank you both, myself, Kibbles, and Tumba. Thanks for joining with me today, guys. Make sure you go follow Tumba on StarCraft. He is the amount of commitment that you've given to the esports scene is phenomenal, man.
Oh, well, thank you, Kibbles. I really appreciate that. You as well, of course. I know that 2011's been a dream come true. It was just a year ago I was watching MLG Columbus from a Skype call from a viewing party, and here I am getting to cast it, so very emotional for me. I'm so happy to be here. I'm enjoying every single game, and when I have a moment to sneak out and watch one, man, it is amazing to get out there with that crowd.
It is so energetic. I'm sure you guys, having tuned into the main stage, hear the energy. I know we cranked up the mics a little bit this MLG so you guys can experience more of the crowd atmosphere. If you're not tuning in, if you're not here at the event, you're tuning in, I think, maybe that crowd is making you feel as if you need to come out to an MLG.
Yeah, it's really intoxicating. It's like, you know what? I feel sort of hypnotized. I need to get to one of these.
You know why I love the word intoxicating? Because things that are intoxicating are addictive. And
yes.
MLG is
MLG definitely addictive. Definitely addictive for sure. So we hope you guys are enjoying every one of these matches. As said, just waiting for DRG to get set up here, and we will get the game started as soon as humanly possible. We promise. We know you're thirsty for more StarCraft action.
It's going to be Terran and Zerg coming up here, hopefully in a minute or two, guys. Tumba, have you had the opportunity to travel too much around Columbus as of yet? I know the other day we ran into a German restaurant. Apparently, Columbus was actually founded by Germans, and they have a sect, a quarter that is basically Germantown, if you will. I'm not sure that that's the name of it. They may have a name for the area, but went to Schmitz. It was a really great restaurant around here.
No, you know what? I haven't. I had some plane issues, a little bit of had to go ahead and make some last-minute changes, but made it here on time nonetheless. But I was able to go around to some of the different eateries around here, as I do enjoy a meal or two. And you and I had lunch together today at a very awesome area, which is like a fresh market kind of thing, and that was a lot of fun. So
the food around the convention center is actually fantastic. That's a great thing to mention. If you guys come out to the event, you're getting more than StarCraft. You're getting some
StarCraft and great food, man.
what better with NOS?
With NOS.
StarCraft, great food, NOS.
I'll tell you what.
Is all you need.
If you're if you're an up-and-coming caster and you're casting some StarCraft, you're feeling a little bit tired, NOS will do the trick. That'll get you through the cast, no doubt.
A shadow of a doubt.
So as you can take a look at the graphic coming up, you got the prize pool here, $25,000 to first place. That's a lot of bread.
Yeah, the total prize pool, Tumba, for MLG, I believe it's, you know what, I'm going to add up these numbers really quick in my head, $76,000, I believe. It is more, last year, I believe it was $5,000 for first place.
So they've only added 20,000.
500%.
So, and I mean, look, 15 grand for second place, not a bad weekend, I have to say. But 25,000 for first, that's a year's salary to some people, or close to it anyway.
Yeah.
And, it's a handsome payday all the way down. You can see through 16th, they each get $1,000 for coming out. But you know what? Every single player gets the experience of coming out to an MLG and competing, which is awesome. And another thing with the open bracket, I think it's amazing how MLG offers the chance for any player to come out and play against the top pros. So that's a very cool experience. So.
Actually last MLG at Providence, I came out and competed. I came to Columbus as a spectator, and having practiced my stuff, I was in intense training mode, practicing with many different partners, and eventually I was like, all right, I'm gonna try my hand. Fortunately, I got taken out by Liquid Chef. It's quite a dire match for me, if you will. But now I'm here commentating, Tumba, sitting next to you, good sir, and we are preparing to cast players who, no doubt about it, would have beaten me just as badly as Liquid Chef.
Oh, you don't give yourself enough credit. They would have beaten you in the first 5 minutes, maybe, but that's it. So just give us 1 second, and we will be right back with DRG versus Demuslim. No worries. Okay, guys, welcome back. What we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the pool graphics, show you guys who is in the pool play, and we're going to go get an idea of just who you think may make it through the respective pools. So we're going to bring up Pool A first. Of course, Marine King, just won, actually, the MLG Arena in New York. So great to see him not finish second there. Gonzi, MC, and Sase. Sase actually losing to MC. I believe just recently here. Did take game 2 off of him, though. Quantic Sase, so far, though, I believe, you know, being able to take a game off MC could have actually won the series. Going into Group B, of course, we see DongRaeGu, Naniwa, Demuslim, and Hey Pro. Now, I don't know, Kibbles. Who would you say is the favorite out of this group?
I actually think this is one of the groups where we don't have a player who's going to be really, really in a tough spot. DongRaeGu probably the favorite of here in Pool B.
It's got to be close with Naniwa, though, as he has been killing the best Zergs in the world.
And without a shadow of a doubt. So DongRaeGu definitely may have what it takes to have what it takes, excuse me, to take him down. But Protoss is not his best matchup. You know, Terran is it's his bread and butter, and unfortunately, only one Terran in this bracket.
Hey Pro seems to me like one of the players that's been, you know, when he's on, he's great.
Yeah.
Like at Providence, but when he's off, he just has such a hard time, you know, executing. So, moving on to Group C, Huck, Violet, Rhett, and Sock. Rhett doing very good at a learning land that was just on last weekend, and you know, coming out of that, I think with a fresh attitude. So I always say last year he was the player to watch, and I'm confident he will win a championship this year. Who knows? It could be this one. Violet, though, another one of those players, Kibbles, out of nowhere,
so
fan favorite and so good. Huck,
yeah.
Zoc, I can't really. Who? Like, who do you pick here?
You know, Zake, if I am correct, has a little bit of a tough time with Zerg, and he's got 2 Zergs in his pool here. He also did just get taken down by a Huck. So a little bit of a challenge there for him. Violet, you know, he's not up against any Terrans, so this is pretty good overall. Moving on to Group D for us here, guys. We've got Oz, Parting, Grubby, and the STC. This is a fantastic bracket for Parting. He's got 3 Protosses, well, including himself here, and that is his best matchup. Oz as well with a very good record against Toss.
For the STC. That's all I have to say. Because currently in the metagame right now, as we were discussing earlier, it seems to be at this time of the game, and that's very important to talk about because, you know, metagame shifts so very quickly. But at this point, Protoss seems to have a bit of an advantage over Terran. So the STC definitely work ahead of him there. Grubby actually you know, huge fan favorite. Everybody wants to see the guy advance, finishing, I believe it was 4th at the Lone Star, doing so very well.
Been doing fantastic.
Yeah, so that's another hard group. Such talent, really, in all of these groups.
Yeah.
So nice to see everybody under one roof competing at the highest level.
I'm sure the STC has to be a little bit disappointed there's not a Zerg in his pool. He's very, very solid with that matchup. We did get to cast him earlier against Eluding Parting earlier,
yeah.
and that was a very, very difficult match for him. So hopefully he'll be able to step it up in his pool, perform a little bit better. But guys, we are preparing here for DongRaeGu versus Demuslim.
I promise it's coming. It's on the way. They're just having some issues. I think they're getting some drivers sorted right now. Of course, that's one of the challenges. You know, you're flying all the way over from Korea. You've got different drivers, different computers. Got to get everything set up.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where just bear with us, and they'll get that taken care of so we can get into the action. And I'm sure that the player, I'm sure, you know what? You can bet your bottom dollar that right now Demuslim cannot wait to get into this match.
Yeah, I'm probably rocking back and forth in his chair right now, just getting excited. So we have an update, guys. We're going to be right back. Quick commercial break. I'm Kibbles with Dumba.
Welcome back, guys. I promised it, and I'm going to deliver for you DRG versus Demuslim. Kibbles, I'm super excited. Why don't you take away the player intro since you're so good at it?
All right, guys, let's get into this game. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map. Once we get it up for you here, we have the player from Evil Geniuses. Guys, this is our blue Terran player, Demuslim. This is Tal'Darim Alter in cross positions. Who do we have here? Mr. Tumba.
Facing off against known probably as the current best Zerg in the world, DongRaeGu, aka DRG.
Tumba, if we were to have any positions here on Tal'Darim Alter for an epic game here in game one between these two guys, I think we were given that gift.
Absolutely. Cross position on this big of a map. I don't think we're going to see an early win here for either player.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not going to feel confident in going for any insanely risky play until they find out those positions. We see that Overlord right now for DongRaeGu looks like it's headed towards the
I like
bottom.
to call that a Sloverlord, because you can see it's not moving very quickly. So the Sloverlord lumbering, making his way over there as Demuslim going to go ahead.
Is proxying this first barracks, and I really
I
like
love
this.
it.
It's a style that's been popularized mostly by Slayer's Boxer.
Oh, words out of my mouth.
Oh, I mean, very few times does this punish you, and many a time does it help you. It makes it difficult for the Zerg to read, and there's other benefits to it as well, especially on maps where you can lift it and chase away those overlords, those pesky overlords hiding up on those high areas.
Absolutely, Kibbles. You know, we have seen Boxer popularize that style, and it almost works on any map. When you think about it, everything from smaller maps, like we used to see him do it back in different MLGs on Metalopolis, back in the past, and now, of course, Tal'Darim, and if this is a much bigger map, still works very well, of course. So it gives better pathing, of course, for his units, and just allows a little bit of diversity, and really, as you said, there's no real super negative to it. It can't really punish you that much.
Yeah. Yeah, a map like Tal'Darim, not a common one to lay down those really early pulls on against a Terran player, especially one of Demuslim's
Actually, you
caliber.
make 2 pulls, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's against Protoss. That's against
okay.
Protoss.
Right. So, of course, for those of you that didn't know, Kibbles did compete at MLG Providence, and was one of the first Zergs to go ahead and debut the proxy.
It will eventually be a very big thing. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if we see DongRaeGu throw it down, as he is pulling quite a bit of minerals here.
Certainly is, and we can see going ahead.
No, he's going to go for 2 queens.
Hatch first.
Opening out of Demuslim here, going to opt for the 1 Rax expand. I absolutely love it on this map, especially he sent out that SCV nice and early. If we take a look at his vision, did find the spawning position here now of DongRaeGu.
It's one of those things, too, where against DRG, it is a must to get some aggression. It is a must to get him off his game. If you don't get DRG off his game early, you actually have no prayer of beating him. You cannot let DRG sit back and feel comfortable for even a second.
Tumba, Demuslim is taking your advice right now. Behind this push, guys, he's got 3 Marines throwing down the reactor Hellion as it does appear. These Marines, in the meantime, going to lay on a little bit of pressure here, and I love it. He's exactly what you said to heart, Tumba, because we've got a follow-up pressure after this. 3 Marines right now going to be dealing with 2 Zerglings and 2 Queens, and I don't think this is going to do too much, but we did see 2 additional Lings produced there from DongRaeGu. In addition to that, he's throwing down a Spine Crawler and queuing up 2 more Queens.
Exactly. So what he's doing is he's getting in there and he's disrupting the flow of DRG as much as possible. DRG, has he seen this aggression a million times? Sure he has. Yeah. But it's still something that's vital, that's crucial, and this off the back of that proxy barrack, I love it. Queens, look how far the Queen's coming out. Queens make phenomenal punching bags, by the way.
Yeah, they really do. And you know what? Even better, is it a Kevlar shield? You know, counter-strike, throw the shield up in front of you. Queens are great at getting out there, and right now Ling's coming out chasing these Marines, and it looks like they're all going to be picked off. Will he kill the additional Ling? Yes, he in fact does. That Marine just gets off the bullets kind of as he's falling to the ground there. Nice play there from Demuslim. Very nice target fire. Behind this, guys, you know what? Not going for the reactor Hellions. Instead, he opts to leave the reactor on that barracks. We just see the 1 Hellion. This is actually the Hellion Marine timing. I'll never forget it because it's one of the first times I had ever seen it utilized so well. This is exactly what Demuslim did against Violet on Core Hall Compound in that game I was referencing earlier. It was a Hellion Marine timing around 8:39 minutes is when, if I recall correctly, when it struck.
And it's gorgeous, too. You know, We saw back in MLG Anaheim from last year, of course, Reactored Hellions were the story of that MLG. Now, Hellions have their place, but they've been refined a little bit, and I love to see this out of Demuslim. It's a good way to follow up, and again, it's a good way to get units across the map and in the face of DRG.
Now, I question perhaps the map on which Demuslim is opting to go with this strategy, because DongRaeGu is a player who's not afraid to use roaches.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, we have Tal'Darim Malter here, a map where very, very concentrated Hellion play is extremely effective because it's tough to wall off. Because of that, we do see the 4 queens. And it looks actually as if we see DongRaeGu here. He's throwing down a Baneling nest. Note he has 3 gases. Could be going here, possibly, Tumba, for a delayed Roach Baneling bust. The timing here would be much later. Typically, this happens around the 8-minute mark. This is going to be later, but powerful.
Absolutely, Kibbles. This has become a more and more popular build.
Yes.
I've seen this a lot lately. The 2 base Baneling bust is so very effective. But it seems like, you know, Demuslim preparing, getting down the bunkers, as well as, of course, that nice line of supply depots there. Well, walling off, but the question is, oh, he sees it coming the whole way, but can he prepare in time, Kibbles?
Well, those bunkers do. One of them is halfway done at this point. We see a lot of Marines here. He's actually putting them behind the bunkers, making sure to keep them alive. Wouldn't be surprised to see some SCVs pulled off the line. We do see that these Hellions were skirting away from the roaches. Now they're going to try to engage with the Lynx, expose themselves a little bit to some damage. We see the Hellions running for the Marines, but now, guys, we see the action moving towards the front of the board as DongRaeGu is preparing for his attack.
Oh, 11 Banelings morphing in, and wow. Talk about the Honey Badger Roaches. These units don't care. You want to shoot them, they don't mind. They react just fine to bullets. And you can see right now, all those Banelings morphing in behind this, all of the SCVs pulled right now to repair that eBay, and that is because, of course, he wants to keep that wall solid. 2 Marines on the outside, going ahead and firing away at those Roaches. Roaches really not caring too much, Gibbles.
Yep, you know, the engineering bay, well, it was exposed, but now we do see DongRaeGu moving in with all these Banelings. A lot of them trapped behind the Marines. Actually, none of the supply depots fall until now. Now everything is falling. The Banelings coming in. Nice spacing on the bunkers, though, for Demuslim here.
Yes, but you know what? It just could be too much as we see trees on fire, absolute pandemonium. Oh, Banelings going off, some SCVs dying a violent death there, some Lings streaming in, and right now Demuslim trying to do as much damage control as possible, but DRG has flipped that kill switch we talk about, and he is all up in the business right now of Demuslim.
Absolutely. In the base doing damage, Demuslim immediately reestablishing this wall with it, which is absolutely vital to his survival because DongRaeGu was reinforcing this attack. Now we see him letting off. He switched over into drones. 7 drones currently on the way to try to transition out of this. So these Roaches are pulling all these Marines to the back and is continuing to pick off SCVs while they run.
Who says Zerg doesn't micro? Do you see that? Keeping those Roaches alive as long as humanly possible, doing just a great job there.
I'm astounded, actually, that Demuslim managed to hold that off.
Yeah, he has stabilized, and he has a 3rd command center behind this as well. And who else but Demuslim could pull off something like that?
Well, I'm wondering if perhaps this Hellion Marine style that we've been seeing out of him is in response to the Roach Baneling aggression. He held that off, albeit, you know, very, very tight defense there for Demuslim. But not only was he able to, if that pressure didn't come, he would have been able to apply a significant amount of pressure. During all that, he completed a 3rd base combo. And the only way I've ever seen a Terran survive a Roach Bane timing like that, if they took a fast 3rd, is with siege tanks. And a huge credit to Demuslim there.
It's funny you mentioned that. Again, words out of my mouth. We were on the same wavelength today because no siege tanks. Yeah. I mean, that is what really is the story of how amazing that hold was. I mean, this shows just how refined the play of Demuslim has become. Definitely one of the top foreigners, so exciting to watch. Has he stabilized enough? We're going to have to see as DRG has elected to take a 3rd. He has a macro hatch down. I love that decision, allowing him to saturate that 3rd even quicker. Good creep spread for him as well, going to give him a lot of good vision. But DRG is one of those players that's used to, after flipping the kill switch, ending the game. He was not able to do that, Kibbles.
Yeah.
So he's got to be a little bit frustrated.
Let's take a look at the position that both players are currently in. We've got 59 workers for DongRaeGu, 48 for his opponent, Demuslim.
Mules will factor a little bit in as well.
Certainly. You know, the one thing for Demuslim that he really wants to do right now, and what do you think is his best method, is establish this 3rd combo?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, he's got to get the 3rd established and safely, right? Because that's the whole thing. It's one of the things where if there's a weakness, DRG will find it. He will exploit it, and he will punish for it. So he's got to be very, very careful how he elects to do this. And here he goes, moving out with Medivacs and Marines. and it looks like he's actually going to go ahead and I believe ferry to the back of the expansion here of the natural of DRG.
Yeah, at home, it doesn't look like he's gearing up for counter pressure to this, so I think this is just
and here we go. Yep, absolutely going to go ahead and use this drop play, and very, very effective. But Bailing coming in, good pickup. Will not lose but a couple of units there. DRG's reaction time, though, phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, he was right there. Only lost the one spine crawler, perhaps the other one as well, unless it was canceled. Didn't manage to catch that. Currently, we've got Mutas inbound here for DongRaeGu. That was the, I want to say it was a nice move out of Demuslim going for these drops because he knows that the Roach Bane was going to set DongRaeGu back there. But there's something to point out that we've got DongRaeGu having established at this point while these Medivacs and Marines drop is this hidden third. But we'll come back to that as right now it does look like Demuslim coming in for some additional pressure.
Yeah, here we go. Big Stim going down, and can he actually snipe? It looks like he will, in fact, snipe. But hold that thought. He will load up the Medivacs, tuck, tail, and run away. But are these Mutas going to get it? No, Demuslim at the last minute unloads the Medivac. Man, after sniping the Spire, able to get out there and save some of those Marines as well.
That was a huge move for Demuslim.
Big pick off.
It's going to allow him to hold that map control, which is ultimately going to let him take this third. I'm surprised he hasn't at least moved the command center. You know what? He's even killed the back rocks. Definitely think he could have gone for a maneuver such as that. These Marines clean up easily, guys, by those lanes. And now we see DongRaeGu, he wants to hold on to that map control. He's got a small contingent of Mutalisks here. Some Marines. Or some of these Zerglings as well. And look, he's headed straight for the third.
Look where he's going. And that's just great game sense, Kibbles. He knows right what Demuslim's up to, and he seems to be one step ahead of him now.
Well, the reality is this is a nice ball of Marines and Marauders here, and without Banelings, I think the Muslims could hold this third.
Well, we're going to have to see his Link move in, and they are going to get a move around here and clean up the additional contingent. However, the reinforcements are bearing down quite quickly, and it looks like he will be able to secure this third, but oh, look at this.
29 Banelings.
Is it only for a moment? It seems to be only for a moment, as you said, 29 Banelings. You know what is more effective than 28 Banelings? 29 of them.
Guys, this is going to be very, very difficult. We need some excellent Marine splitting. Is it going to happen? Demuslim not splitting them yet. Running back, a large ball of those Marines do go down. Banelings continuing to splash. A lot of the Marines have already been taken out.
Oh no, and a supply depot down, and they are going to make fun of the base. One buck going down, getting into the FDB line now. Trying to send Marines to do whatever he can to go ahead and stop the bleeding, but once again, DRG all up in his business, in his mix right now. The Muslim National is in a little bit of trouble here. Can he stabilize him?
Yeah, he's having a little bit of control issues right now. His SCV's actually attacking his own command center for a moment there. Not too happy, I think, with how that last engagement
very well
went.
Against Zerg, as we've seen in MLG's past. If you want to beat certain players, just kill your own command center.
Absolutely. Yeah, best way to get it done. Congratulations to MMA for popularizing that style.
Absolutely.
Guys, Demuslim moving out across the map right now. I want to say that I actually agree with this maneuver. You know, he took some heavy losses. Perhaps DongRaeGu behind this is feeling really content with Macrig. Something we did manage to miss here, guys, was that a drop went down for Demuslim and took out this third. Now, this was a huge maneuver. We didn't even get to talk about it.
Oh, hold that thought. As we can see, another drop going down. Look at the multitasking coming out of Demuslim at the moment. That hatchery is going to be forfeit. Going to lose that as well. Demuslim seemingly all over the place right now.
Yeah, DongRaeGu not even moving to defend.
He kicked the beat net. Look at the Marine splits right now. Out to players. So good, Kibble.
Some of that was beautiful. That was and he did that on creep. You know he's been practicing that Marine split challenge. A little bit of a counterattack here with some Mutalisks. Not too many units at home for Demuslim, but does manage to thwart it because Demuslim is applying counter pressure here. What does DongRaeGu have at home to defend against this?
Well, taking a look here, he's got a lot of drones, but those don't react well to bullets. As you can see, Infestors now getting picked off and taken out. Also losing some Overlords there. Link's finally coming in, Mutas in a challenge and trying to take out that small contingent of Marines. My gosh, has the Muslims game really improved?
Yeah, you know, okay, now pulling these units up in the Medivac so they will be safe, but the Mutas are going to come in and clean them up pretty quickly. We do see a drop going down in the natural. Will manage to get one Infestor, and he's going to go for the Roach Warren immediately following. DongRaeGu is on his back foot right now, and this is exactly what the Muslim needed to do. Caught DongRaeGu not making units.
Well, if you're watching the mini-map at home, you see it's absolute pandemonium as there's another drop in the back of the main right now. How does the Muslim do it? I don't know. I can't explain it. It almost seems like he's got a couple players playing the game with him. He his multitasking impeccable. His unit split so very good. He has got DRG, as you said, Kibble, right where he wants to play so very well. Drops, pickups, doing really good with unit retention. Just playing this absolutely amazingly.
Nice fungal growth there on that very, very full energy medevac. Will it manage to get taken out? No, there's not actually a queen there. A couple of idle drones sitting here as well for DongRaeGu. But the problem for DongRaeGu is he has lost so many hatcheries. Tumba has yet to ever take his natural third. It's made him so vulnerable to drops. And Demuslim smelled that out because he knows DongRaeGu is not a player who's simply not going to take a third after, you know, really putting you on your back foot. And so he found these hidden expansions, demolished them simply put, and Demuslim is now in a gorgeous position, guys. He's dropping a fourth, has his third well established.
Well, it's actually one of those things that you always see Korean players do. Korean players will take one unit, like Boxer, like DRG, and look around the map for ninja expansions. Now, you know what? Foreigners catching on to this. Nothing new, but it's something we always don't see them do. Look at scanning out and taking two super. Absolutely gorgeous play here out of Demuslim. And Demuslim sniffing out that extra hatchery, as you said, keep winning this game. I mean, in the first 7 minutes of the game, it looks like DRG had it now.
All right, guys, the units coming in here. Fungal growth going down on the army. Beautiful play there for DongRaeGu, and it looks like almost everything is going to get cleaned up. He doesn't want to lose these infestors, though. These are such valuable units, and every single one of them does fall.
That's 2 left there, and that is just amazing play. So resilient right now. Never say die. That is the story of Demuslim. I mean, this guy is playing his heart out right now.
Yeah, he's really come back in this game. Now it's, you know what, a bit of a role reversal, because DongRaeGu is the one who's trying to reestablish himself. He needs to get this macro going, and he's trying to do just that, has reestablished his hatchery up in the top left-hand corner. He's also got his natural third, and he's managed to diminish the map presence of Demuslim, which is a huge play for him. He needs to reestablish his creep spread, and maybe try to get something going on Demuslim's end of the battlefield.
Big fungal growth going down here. DRG, not an easy opponent to make capitulate, but right now, man, it is hard to take some initiative. I told you, once the game's initiative, it's hard to take it away. DRG trying to do so, and there's the GG from DRG. Amazing stuff there. So we see, actually, you know what? Demuslim takes the first game, and I am so proud right now, just as a fan of foreigners, of the way Demuslim played that game. So many other players.
Fantastic.
GG. You've got roaches in your main, lings in your main after a baneling bust. You're down to SEVs and barely anything, yet he hangs on, takes the initiative, and wins the game. My gosh, has Demuslim become championship material?
Tumba, Demuslim is the player that if a nuclear holocaust happened, he would be one of the survivors. He would know exactly what to do. You know, this was no different than Violet's comeback. We saw all those roaches and banelings come in. His reaction was perfect. Threw down those supply depots to immediately cut off the Ling reinforcements because he knew they would be Ling reinforcements. They're those faster units. Yep. He's just done a fantastic job there.
Absolutely fantastic. We will be back with more SE2 action, Game 2, right after this.